Breaking this one down as well with the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden and our NFL analyst Ryan Wilson. Guys, September continues to be the greatest season outside of the postseason for Patrick Mahomes. Now 12-2 in the month of September. Says a lot about Mahomes, B-Mac, but does it tell you even more about Andy Reid, the way he preps his team in the offseason?
No question, one of the best coaches in the National Football League. He does a great job in getting his guys ready to go, to understand what they're going against. And Money Pat is guaranteed in the month of September. If you just bet on Pat Mahomes alone, just think about how much money you would have made throughout his career. The thing that I like about today's matchup, we saw a lot of rustiness from some offenses, quarterbacks, wide receivers, in totality, the entire offense. We didn't see any of that from Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And remember also, Andy Reid put his starters out there in preseason. We saw Pat Mahomes participating and getting things going. So the flow, the rhythm was there. The most unique thing about what Pat Mahomes did today in the red zone, 6 for 6. Granted, in a ball game where they lost their starting kicker because of an ankle injury, it didn't even matter. They scored touchdowns every opportunity they got in the red zone. The MVP, in my opinion, it's 1 week of play. We still got games left to be played. It's a two-player race.
Okay.
It's Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes.
Okay.
And currently, Pat Mahomes is in front of Josh Allen.
Okay.
Every week, I'm going to dissect these two players because it's a two-man award right now. It's either Josh Allen award or Pat Mahomes award. But the MVP consists of two players. And right now, Money Pat Mahomes is leading that charge.
All right, that is your early MVP watch by our guy, Bryant
Never too
McFadden.
soon.
Never, as these guys did put forth MVP-type performances on Sunday. Most impressively, Ryan, does it in the absence of Tyreek Hill, a recession-proof offense in Kansas City, if you will. How impressed were you the fact that they put up 44 points, the total yardage that they put it up, and really spreading the ball out? Do you think that that challenge will open up another facet of Pat Mahomes that maybe we haven't seen before?
First of all, VMAC, disrespectful to Mitch Trubisky, but that's a conversation for another time. As to your question, Joe, listen, it's a great way to put it. This is a recession-proof offense. We saw what Tyreek Hill did in South Florida today. Didn't matter for what the Chiefs were able to do. We saw what Devontae Adams did for the Raiders. That mattered for the Packers, and I think it comes down to what VMAC's getting at. Two things, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Those are good ways to start your program heading into the season. If Andy Reid is nearly undefeated off the bye, imagine what he's going to be with 3, 4, 5 months preparation. And we saw that unfold in a meticulous fashion, and it felt like the Cardinals had very few answers. And that's a problem for a Cardinals team that typically starts hot and then deflates down the stretch. If they're going to start off slow with no DeAndre Hopkins and then some of the mistakes we saw today on the field, that's going to make for a long season. But I think in terms of what we have in the Chiefs, it's going to be a lot of fun. We talked about Sky Moore had a big catch there towards the end. Juju Smith-Schuster got some playing time. He did have 2 fumbles. You would imagine that he will clean that up. There's no real star power outside of Patrick Mahomes and perhaps Travis Kelce down the field. That doesn't mean one of these other players won't emerge because of the way this offense is structured and the way that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes work in concert to get everyone involved.
I'm glad, Ryan, you mentioned the factor of urgency here and the lack thereof out of Arizona on Sunday. It was something that Kansas City lacked a year ago, too. Played from behind in a lot of games, showed up at halftime and still reached an AFC title game type ceiling. This year, maybe without their star wide receiver, a little bit more urgent, a little earlier on. Kyler Murray cannot go without some analysis here, B-Mac, as he was someone who had a contract put in front of him with a clause and some questions that came along with that clause. The numbers weren't terrible here on Sunday, but never really competitive in this game. He does have the scapegoat of not having his top target right now, but what did you make of Murray on Sunday?
It was a tough matchup for Kyler Murray. It's not like he's going against Pat Mahomes, but when he's on the football field with Pat Mahomes, it's always the quarterback matchup. He got paid, deserving so. Now you got to put up the numbers based on what you're getting in your paychecks. So me personally, it was a slow start for Kyler Murray. The entire offense had issues. They were 3 for 12 on third down opportunities. We saw better, efficient play in the red zone, but they just weren't able to get in the red zone a lot compared to Pat Mahomes and what his offense was able to do. 193 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. They couldn't run the football at all. He had to lead his team in rushing, so it was just an off day for Arizona. Now, the thing is, as Ryan mentioned, usually Arizona starts fast. They start off 4-0, 5-0, pretty good record in the month of September. Without DeAndre Hopkins, I expect to see some of the same woes we saw today. And that's a bad sign when you look at what they have on their schedule going throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, a couple more prove-it games out in front of them with the Raiders going down in Vegas. Then they will make a trip. They will welcome the Rams, before taking on the Panthers, which might present a little bit more of an opportunity there for two former Oklahoma quarterbacks facing off. But we'll get there when we get there. But coming up next, we got plenty more coming your way as we take a look at some of your top fantasy performers out of this one.
I had Pat Mahomes.
Star power, even in the absence of Tyreek Hill, is never at a shortage here on this Kansas City offense. 360 through the air, 5 tutters, no giveaways. Also had 5 rush yards for you there, 44 points. How's that for fantasy? Kyler Murray, meanwhile, gets you into the 20s with his $193, protected the football, but was never really competitive in this game. Travis Kelce continues to be a premier tight end when you're talking fantasy and any other conversation. Straight ahead on CBS Sports HQ, got more analysis and highlights before we get you set for Sunday Night Football.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.